church on down, man. Got it.
And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people.
Hey, we're in that time. When Yahushua, comes, hey, that's the Lord's hand, right? His right hand is Yahushua, man. And the Holy Spirit angels. They'll come back with Yahushua. All right, and deliver his elect. Go ahead.
It says,
and set us back, into our land. You got it.
Yep. That the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people.
Remnant, the elect. Yep.
Which shall be left from Assyria, and from Egypt, and from Pathros, and from Cush, and from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcast of Israel.
Woo. Outcast, man. Dispersed from the four corners to the four corners of the earth, man. And what's the uttermost part of the earth here in America, man? Great Babylon, man. Also, South America. Got Jake in North America, Canada up there. But primarily this place. This is where the main deliverance is gonna be, man. Okay.
It says the outcast of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah.
The dispersed, man. What's that? Sephardic diaspora. Yeah, the diaspora, man. That's talking about us. We were scattered, and that goes back to the curses. All right.
It says the outcast of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. That's it right here.
Yeah, that's it, man.
I got a quick precept to back you up about the Israelites coming in not looking like the average Jake. This is 1 Samuel 16:7. But the Lord said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance or on the height of his stature, because I have refused him. For the Lord Yahweh seeth not as man seeth. For man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart. All right, so those ones that's going to come in, they're not going to look like your average Jake, but they're going to have that tawah. All right, the angels are going to know who has that tawah and who doesn't. That mark of exemption. Okay, it's a cut to Christians or those black-only Israelites. They want everyone to look like, what do you say, Richard Roundtree and Denzel Washington. Like, no, it's gonna be Israelites that look like so-called white people, that look like Africans or all nations, Moabites, Chinese, Japanese, Indonesians, and
What do you think Rehoboam looked like? Rehoboam's mother was an Ammonite. So what do you think Rehoboam? You think he looked like You think he looked like Isaac Hayes with a fro or something? I'm pretty sure he didn't. He had features, and
yeah.
This is just from my own anecdotal, but sons tend to take after their mothers. Sons always look more like their mothers. So if his mother was an Ammonite, what do you think Rehoboam really looked like? And he didn't stop. He had children. So what did his children look like?
Yeah. Yep. Ruth, Jesse.
Yeah. Boaz and Ruth. They ended up having Jesse. Or was it Obed?
Yeah, it was Obed.
Obed, and then Jesse.
Yeah.
So
Obed.
Right. So does that explain maybe why King David was seen as ruddy?
And you think about
he was probably a light brown Jake.
And this is before the captivities. So if the features began to look different during the kingdom, or when we was in rulership after Rehoboam, so how much more Babylonian to Persians and the Medes, the Grecians, to the Romans, to now? Yeah. Come on.
Hey, we got an example through the Spirit. Hey, bring that up, bro.
It's 2 Kings 5, and I'm gonna start here at I'll start at 21.
Yeah, just
Don't need the whole count just the point?
Not the whole, but you know, just get the gist of it. You know.
Okay, all right, I'll start here at verse 24.
Now this is the account on Ghazi, which is you know, the underscore of Elisha.
Oh yeah.
It's 2 Kings 5 and 24. I'll read it in the NLT. It says, but when they arrived at the citadel, Gehazi took the gifts from the servants and sent the men back. Then he went and hid the gifts inside the house.
Ghazi is the Israelite, right?
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
It's a lot, yeah. Just to give a quick, just a nutshell. It was it was the king of Syria. Was it Naaman was his name?
Yeah,
Naaman.
Yeah, Naaman.
Naaman, the king of Syria at the time, and he was leprous.
You're right.
And Elisha, he pretty much, he sent for him to have, it was an instruction for him to go to this river and to basically dump himself. Was it like 7 times or something like that?
Yeah.
And when he came out, he would become clean.
Yeah.
Which it made me think back to John the Baptist. Because Elisha was the understudy to Elijah.
Yeah.
And we know Elijah he came back as John the Baptist. You know? But yeah, that was the same situation where the king of Syria, he was leprous, white as snow.
Yeah.
So afterwards, once he did that, he sent his understudy, his servant, to basically go and greet him, but don't take nothing from him. Basically, you know, have some integrity. Don't take nothing from him. But he wasn't gonna let him know, and he took from him anyway and tried to hide the shit. So that's where he's at. Go ahead, bro.
It says, but when they arrived at the citadel, Gehazi took the gifts from the servants and sent the men back, and then he went and hid the gifts inside the house.
And that was the gifts from the king of Syria. He was trying to show gratitude for what had happened.
Yeah.
Like basically as a, hey, thank you for this, you know?
Yeah, I remember.
He healed me of my leprosy. Go ahead.
Yep. It's 25. When he went into his master, Elisha asked him, where have you been, Gehazi? I haven't been anywhere, he replied.
Lie to the Holy Spirit, bro.
Yeah.
You're lying.
But Elisha asked him, don't you realize that I was there in spirit when Naaman stepped down from his chariot to meet you? It says, is this the time to receive money and clothing, oil groves and vineyards?
Man, that cut you niggas today, man. Let's go.
Oil groves and vineyards, sheep and cattle, and male and female servants. Because you have done this, you and your descendants will suffer from Naaman's leprosy forever.
Woo. That means the descendants of Ghazi, all his sons, through now to now.
Yep.
You got Israelites that are looking like so-called white people. That's the example right there. Clean lepers, yeah.
Yep. It says when Gehazi left.
Like what's his name? Crundon from what's Strong Arm Steady.
Yep.
Y'all remember that show Black Lightning?
Yeah.
He's clearly a J. Got the nigga lips and all that.
He was like a albino gorilla.
Yeah.
He said when Gehazi left the room, he was covered with leprosy. His skin was white as snow.
So that means that his descendants was gonna maintain that curse. And the Most High can do that. So that, hey, if any of his sons go get with a Hamite woman, that baby's still coming out albino. That was a serious offense right there. You know. So yeah, we gonna hey, Jake look like all people, man. That's why everything is spiritual. You gotta go by the spirit. Can't be carnal, man. Some of these niggas, you gotta damn near be a Hamite to be an Israelite.
Yeah.
You just gotta be super dark, you know. Yeah, dark skin. Both parents gotta qualify.
Yeah.
You can't just have one. You can't just have your father can't just be an Israelite. Your mother too. You got a bunch of weirdos in Israel. Go ahead.
This Jeremiah 12 and 9. Mine heritage is unto me as a speckled bird. The birds round about are against her. Come ye, assemble all the beasts of the field, come to devour. When you go into that word speckled, it means variegated, right? And it's no coincidence because we understand, hey, Yahweh Shem Shai don't deal in coincidences. It's just truth. Hey, when you look at Israel's national bird, it's a bird called the hoopoe. right? And the hoopoe is basically a bird with all different colors or shades of brown. From the lightest brown, almost whitish looking, to the darkest brown, almost looking black, man. You know, so it's variegated, just like all JKs.
Yeah.
You know?
We dark, dark brown. Going back to the soil, the deep soil. Opposite of Adawam, which is red. They try to say that Edom means Adam, which means
from the ground.
Red, because the soil is red. Nah, that's not what that's talking about. All right. No, Adam is Adama, which means from the ground, because he was made from the dust of the earth.
It really came out the waters.
Hey, really, when you mix the water with the soil, it makes it darker, don't it? That clay. Yeah, man. And then, hey, they already called Issachar a lighter shade of brown. Or brown people. Ephraim, yeah, they already called the northern tribe brown. They say black and brown. Well, really, we all just different shades of brown, from dark to light.
Yep. It's that simple, man. Where you going?
This is Revelations 5 and starting back at 9. And they sung a new song saying, "Thou art worthy to take the book and open the book, open the seals thereof. For thou wast and hast redeemed us to Yahweh by thy blood unto every kindred and tongue and people and nation."
Yep, that's why we worship Yahweh Shai, man. All right.
And has made us unto our power Yahweh kings and priests. And
all right, kings and priests. Yeah, the men of the Lord are the kings and priests. Okay. You want to say something, bro?
I was going to ask him in that same verse where it says kindred. Look up that word kindred. What does it say in the Greek for kindred?
Fule.
Get that.
A tribe.
Definitions.
In the New Testament, all the persons descending from one of the 12 sons of the patriarch Jacob.
There it is. From every kindred, right? That means, hey, from each tribe, all the tribes. And remember, going back to the beginning,
bro, that's
it was promised that they would become a nation and a company of nations. He said nations in a company of nations, or a multitude of nations will come out of thy loins. Sarah was told she would be the mother of a myriad of thousands. What is a myriad? That's a lot. You know?
It says when you go into the Edom of that word kindred, it goes back to the word kin. When you go back into Genesis and it speaks about the rib, she was made out of the rib, basically going back to the kin or family, the lineage of Adam.
Got that definition, bro?
Myriad?
Yeah, myriad. It said a countless or extremely great number.
Said countless.
Countless.
That goes back to the Hosea 1 and 10 and 11 that the brother brought out earlier. As the sand of the sea. Ain't no one, you can never number all the Israelites. The only one that can do it is the Most High.
Yep.
You know?
That's why the Most High got so furious, with David in particular, because he wanted to number, Israel, man. Because the Lord got to keep something secret, man. He can't give everything, every secret to servants, man. That doesn't make sense, man. So the Lord has to keep, keep his knowledge to himself. Like these scriptures, this is what we need to know for salvation. That's it. Hey, Revelation 10. All right, the angel said, told Apostle John, don't write this down. Don't write this certain account down. Because we ain't need to know. We ain't need to know it on this side, man. So there's many other things secrets that Yahweh Shai gonna come back with, to basically disclose to us, man. All right.
And to make a correction, it wasn't Sarah, it was actually Rebecca. Real quick, Genesis 24 and 58, it says, and they called Rebecca and said unto her, wilt thou go with this man? And she said, I will go. And they sent away Rebecca, their sister, and her nurse, and Abraham's servant, and his men. And they blessed Rebekah and said unto her, thou art our sister, be thou the mother of thousands of millions, and let thy seed possess the gate of those which hate them. Yeah. And that was right before Isaac marries her. You know?
Shit, millions back then is like the equivalent to like quadrillions now. Shit,
Man.
yeah. Because they ain't had no such thing as billions and quadrillions and shit, you know? But billions, they ain't had that back then, you know? But millions, that's a lot, baby.
Like to be compared to the sand of the sea as a number. How do you even come up with a final a number on that?
Finite number.
Exactly.
Ending number.
You can't do that.
That's why you can't number Israel.
Yeah.
Can't number them, man. And what's crazy is when the elect gets saved and it talks about that innumerable multitude, that's just a remnant of Israel, and still can't be numbered.
That's just 1/3.
Yeah. You can't even count 1/3 of the nation. That'll let you know when we get in the kingdom how much we're gonna be procreating, bro. Yeah. If it's that many, Jake, that's gonna be like a strict command to bring all them souls back, man. Like it's probably gonna be like a strict commandment. Like you going off if you don't start procreating.
You say we got a quota, bro.
And we gotta
BST level's gonna be 3,000.
bro.
Yeah, so you know there's gonna be a lot of.
And we ain't gonna need no Yohembe and the Tonkat Ali and shit. Makaru.
Yeah, that's what other nations.
We ain't gonna need none of that, man. You know?
That's it. Yep. Yeah, it ain't
We
gonna
everywhere.
Be, yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
It's like it ain't gonna be multiple times. We're gonna pop our woman hoping that she get pregnant. You know,
Oh,
it's
hell
gonna be
no.
one and done, man.
Yeah.
You got to think about this is
Bring on
really
the
like
next
the kingdom of heaven forever.
Done.
So these spirits got to be brought back, and they ain't gonna, we're not gonna die.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we ain't gonna be no typical American family men either, man. For you women, man. You know, we're not gonna be at home raising our children, like a typical American family. No, man.
No, we're gonna have maids.
We're gonna have maids. Man. We might not see our children might y'all see one children every our firstborn son every 3 years or some shit. You know? We like that movie, what's that movie? Ants. When the queen, she was having all them babies. And she was basically, the maids was bringing the babies to the queen so she can, recognize them and meet them or whatever. She was like, that. Yeah, that's going to be kind of like in the kingdom, man.
I told my woman about that, bro. She was like,
She was hurt.
hey, need some help.
That's real, man.
Real quick, this is Isaiah 60 and 21. Thy people shall be all righteous. That's clearly not now, right? They shall inherit the land forever, the branch of my planting, the work of my hands, that I may be glorified. Right? Let's talk about the future, right? Kingdom of heaven says, a little one shall become 1,000, and one small one a strong nation. I, the Lord, will hasten it in his time.
You shall become a nation. That's the purpose. You're building your nation when you because society is so corrupted now that it's narrowed down to just popping a bunch of women.
Yep.
But no, it actually has a purpose. You're nation building when you do that.
Yep. And it's supposed to be, because what do we have now? Why do we have a lot of single mothers? Because a handful of men, because it's less men than women, are popping all these different women, having a bunch of different kids, but then the women get upset because the man ain't only with them and they trying to have ownership and shit, right? That they have to end up being single. In their way, trying to be selfish and want it all for themselves. When all them kids and all them women supposed to be working toward your one righteous mission.
Exactly.
So all like I had an idea anyway. So like an analogy is like a farm. If I have a bunch of sons, hey, my farm is about to flourish. I got a lot of people to help plant and grow, and man, I got a bunch. It's gonna be good. Hey, I got so many sons, I can lend it to the neighbor's son, farm so they can flourish because they're Israelites too.
Yeah, it's a reason why in the breeding business, whether it's cattle or even dogs, when you dog breeding, you always want to have males because they're going to be the ones that got the seed, and then you got you got to have your females. So you got like 1 or 2 boys and like 4 or 5 girls. Oh man, you about to have a litter.
Yeah.
And you finna come up. You finna make money.
Yeah, if you breed cows, you gotta have that 1 bull and multiple female cows. And that's it. That's a lucrative business.
Yeah.
You hate to use those terms in this new speak mindset, but when you go to the ancient mind, hey, the Lord's blessing you.
Yep.
You know? You said something about I want this brother to bring it out in Amos 9. Read that right quick.
Oh, it's like even gardening, plants.
Yep.
Plants, male and female.
I heard about that.
Plants.
I don't know if it's apples or something, but you have to have at least one male plant within 2 blocks away for all the different female plants to flourish.
Pollinate.
Pollinate the other, right.
This is Amos 9 and verse 9.
Yep.
It says, "For lo, I will command, and I will sift the house of Israel amongst all nations, like as corn is sifted in a sieve." Right? Yet it said, "Yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth."
And now going back to what you were saying, if we're all scattered and we're all mingled amongst the heathen, how are we gonna know who's a Jake and who's not? Well, the Heavenly Father's gonna sift. Now, a lot of them gonna be at the 2/3, but some of them gonna wake up and be of the elect, of the 1/3, right? In the 144. So, but all is gonna come back to be Israelites. That's part of the gospel.
I don't know if that's Matthew 13 or Matthew 25. Where the angels,
the angels gonna be the reapers
Yeah.
during the harvest. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly right. That they're all gonna go through and sift to bring all of them back to Israel.
All the weeks.
Yep.
And then eventually the elect are gonna bring back the rest of the nation.
Exactly.
Hence, was it Romans 11, which says, "And all Israel shall be saved."
Yep.
And then Ezekiel 36, where he says, "I will multiply upon the land of Israel, both man and beast."
Yep.
He said, "I will multiply Israel, even all of it."
Yep. That means everybody.
That means all of them got to come back. They got their judgment on the other side, but now they got to come back. But they're gonna come back with that heart of flesh,
Right.
not that stony heart.
Right.
Now, I'm pretty sure y'all know this, but it's just an interesting fact. Either way, it goes with what we're talking about. We're dealing with the men to show you that one man can become a nation, like it says in Isaiah 60. It says, "Men produce millions of sperm cells daily." It says, on average, a healthy adult male produces around 170 million sperm cells per day, with each testicle producing approximately 85 million.
Gee.
Man.
If there was one, you still put them.
And you see, in Eve with his depopulation agenda, he's trying to create. He's been creating avenues all this time to try to basically stop that. You know, all the pollution, the contamination, the radiation. That's what's leading to these lower sperm counts. But it's really mainly affecting Esau of all people. You see how every trap that he tries every trap and snare that he tries to lay for us, he ends up falling into it.
I got a quick one. Psalms 127. I'll start at verse 3.
It also give 128 as well.
It says, "Children are a gift from the Lord. They are a reward from Him. Children born to a young man are like arrows in a warrior's hands. How joyful is the man whose quiver is full of them."
Woo! Cool.
Can you read that again, bro?
Psalms 127 and verse 3. "Children are a gift from the Lord. They are a reward from Him. Children born to a young man are like arrows in a warrior's hands.
Yeah.
How joyful is the man whose quiver
Surah 30.
is full of them.
Quiver is
In
full
Surah
of
30, he had left an avenger unto himself, one like himself, that will equate kindness to his friends. You bring it out, bro.
Yeah, this is Sirach 30, and I'm gonna start here at 3. It says, he that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy,
Yep.
and before his friends he
So
shall...
these are arrows.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I got sentinels, so to speak, ambassadors on my behalf out there. You got it?
Right. It says, and before his friends he shall rejoice of him, though his father die, yet he is as though he were not dead. For he hath left one behind him that is like himself.
Yep.
While he lived, he saw and rejoiced in him, and when he died, he was not sorrowful. He left behind him an avenger against his enemies, and one that shall requite kindness to his friends. That reminds me of King David. You know, when he was on his deathbed, man. You know, he made sure that King Solomon was set up to be next in rule. Hey, but he told him who his enemies were and told him who you could trust, right? And you know what happened after that? You know, the Lord ultimately allowed one of his enemies to be put to death under Solomon, because David wasn't allowed to do it just at that moment. You know, through the spirit. Gun. That's the point right there, verse 6.
So that goes right into having all those arrows. That's why it is a beautiful thing. Children, man, that's why it sucks having them on this side. You know, as beautiful as it just overall is, it sucks because we know that you can't raise them to be the right way in this society, to have the right mind according to this, because society in this conflict, too many obstacles.
Yeah. You don't have righteous examples to show them. Like, you know,
How you gonna teach
you
your
can tell
son?
them, but you can't actually fully show them what you know. Go ahead, bro.
How you gonna teach your son not to deal with how to deal with moles or not to deal with them, or even Edomites? But then they gotta go to kindergarten and be next to them. It's like, man. Then you see little Billy come up, you know, with 2 moms and shit, or 2 dads or some
Right.
shit.
Or the
And you
gender,
can't,
gender neutral clothing and shit.
yeah. It's like, how you gonna ever teach
And
them right?
they're still in this flesh too.
Exactly.
So it's corruptible.
You got it.
In Sirach 25 and 7, there be 9 things which I have judged in mine heart to be happy, and the 10th I will utter with my tongue. A man that have joy of his children.
Yep. When you're proud of your children, because they've learned the vital lessons that you put in them, particularly the righteous ones, not just how you cook it up, son. Boil at this temperature and then you take it out, and how to live the right way. You never pop another man's son. You don't lie to this and that, you know, so on and so forth.
And he that liveth to see the fall of his enemy.
Yep. That's one of the great stories, man. The son that rises up to take down the enemy. You know, that's a great story. And that's what Yahweh Shai's doing for us on our behalf, bringing us back. Anyway, y'all got it.
You want that Psalms 120?
Yeah, you can get it.
I got Psalms 120. Go ahead, bro. From the top?
Yeah, you can start at the top.
Psalms 128, 1. How joyful are those who fear the Lord, all who follow his ways. You will enjoy the fruit of your labor. How joyful and prosperous you will be. Your wife will be like a fruitful grapevine, flourishing within your home. Your children will be like vigorous young olive trees
Man.
as they sit around your table.
Yeah. Meaning
Olive tree grows big.
it grows big.
Yeah.
So that's saying that, you know, we're going to be blessed as far as, you know, having family
Family tree. Yeah.
family tree. So our family is going to be huge.
We
You
never
know?
live. That's a lot of people.
No, go ahead.
I just want to add to what you said. We never really lived to the old age to be able to see our family truly get huge. We're all old on dialysis and shit. It's all crepit. I can't even know my grandchildren, let alone my great grandchildren, because I can't go run and play with them and teach them things, you know,
Usually
in this society.
Grandpa ain't even alive by that time. You know?
That's how the great.
Yeah, the great grandfather.
Yeah. So you gotta just try to pass it through your
You gotta
sons.
start
and hope they
young,
get
bro.
it. Right.
Yeah.
You're 60 years old. You're supposed to be hitting another notch. You know, hitting another level of life. You got it?
real quick.
Yeah, and also that verse is saying that it said that your wife shall be as a grapevine, very fruitful,
Yeah.
fertile.
Yeah.
Because right now, you know, you got certain women that bear.
Yep.
You know, they can't have children. In the kingdom, there ain't gonna be not one woman that's infertile.
Barren.
Kind to land back, you got a whole industry based off of women freezing their eggs, man.
Yeah.
You know, and Esau will take them eggs and freeze them, and then what they'll do is, it's not guaranteed that those same eggs that they're taking out of that woman could be used. So by the time she wants to use them, they'll actually fail, and it's not an insurance policy on it. You know, so it's like once it's gone, it's just gone, man. You know.
You got sperm banks too.
Yeah.
Not a bitch regretting it. Regretting her career.
Yeah.
You got women that will remove their eggs too, like completely. I got a real quick Proverbs 3 and verse 32. It says, for the froward is abomination to the Lord Yahweh, but his secret is with the righteous. And I brought that out because that word froward, it means contrary or adverse. The way that Esau is running his current kingdom is completely against the way that the Most High set it up to be. You know, in the aspect that we speaking of being fruitful. Everything that he got set up from the sperm banks, you know, the Planned Parenthood, all of that, man.
Chemicals in the food, bro.
Yeah. It's frowned upon when you got a lot of children. When you see a lot of Jakes and it come out that they got, 32 children and 150 grandchildren, it's frowned upon. You know, and it's frowned upon as well for young women at the age of 13, 14, 15 to have children. But we understand, things is upside down right now. It's not being done the right way. But that's how it's supposed to be. As soon as a woman or a young girl becomes a woman, she's supposed to start bringing forth that seed.
Yeah, she's past the flower of age.
On the west, it's frowned upon.
Yeah.
But on the east,
it's
that's you the man. Yes, you got 20 kids, 30 kids. You
remember that one?
The older Ishmaelite or something?
Yeah, like Ishmael, bro. He was like, how many wives you got? He was like, I got one wife. He laughed at him, bro.
Couldn't fathom it.
And he was like, whoa, how do you do it? Like, tripping, bro.
I believe it's just in Afghanistan.
Okay.
Yeah, somewhere like that.
Hey, was it?
But he had, I got 98 grandchildren, 13 wives, 98 grandchildren.
Hey, isn't there one of them countries in Africa where they basically are they will basically lock you up for not having multiple wives? Like if you're not indulging in polygamy, you could be jailed.
Hey, because you destroying our nation, fucking around, man.
And you ain't even gotta go as far as the east. You go just somewhere as close as Brazil. They their age of consent is like 15 or something like that. So they know, a woman, she's a woman.
And that was the point I was gonna make when you brought up the 13. It's not even that's just her physical time that she's ready to start producing once her flower age, puberty or whatever hit, right? But it's about the maturity for all you want to condemn pedo-minded people. That ain't what it's talking about. Okay, this is talking about a righteous way that the Heavenly Father designed us, but it's all in wisdom, because we know when she's mature to run a household and to take care of a man. You got it?
As well as that man. It's not just like the brother mentioned it earlier. It's not just about sex. We have a structure as Israelites. We have a structure of how we raise our children, man. It's not just about I can brag about having this many women and just popping children and keeping them moving. No, we take care of our children.
About that, right? This is Titus 2, verse 1. It says, as for you, Titus, promote the kind of...
There you go. That's a lot. That's what we were talking about earlier. There you go.
They got the way for
self-driving.
Yeah. That motherfucker in the corners, man.
My shit go rogue one day and fall down a bunch of...
The one that was circling the parking lot, dude had to get to the airport.
Oh, yeah.
Made him late or whatever. He was like, man, it's tripping. He's telling me to make it stop, hit the brake. Like, I can't hit the brake. It's been in coma.
Leave the world behind with them Teslas was crashing against each other and shit. Yeah. Esau can use that as a weapon, man.
Yeah, exactly.
You got it.
God, there's Titus 2 at the top. As for you, Titus, promote the kind of living that reflects wholesome teaching. Teach the older men to exercise self-control, to be worthy of respect, and to live wisely. They must have sound faith and be filled with love and patience. Similarly, teach the older women to live in a way that honors the Most High. They must not slander others or be heavy drinkers. It's like slander others or be heavy drinkers. Instead, they should teach others what is good. The older women must train the younger women to love their husbands and their children, to live wisely and be pure, to work in their homes, to do good and be submissive to their husbands.
They said to be workers in their own homes, to work in their own homes. Back then, it was more traditional for the woman to work at home. She wasn't working 9 to 5s, and she was working out, unless she was a maid servant, you know, working under somebody else's household. But she worked indoors. She worked at home.
She was doing more than washing dishes and washing clothes.
Yeah, she was tending to the farmland, the cattle.
And it's funny, you know, with these women, they'll try to argue it and be, you know, what's the word, salty about it. But when you look at the industries in which women rule, it's still house-made stuff, man. Your nurses, which is what, tending to those that are sick and their babies. You know, or you're in the hospitality industry, which is what, making beds, sweeping, mopping floors, so forth and so on. Yeah. Yeah, customer service. It's all the stuff that y'all do, man.
You working in
cocktail waitresses. Same shit.
Yeah.
Same stuff. Same.
But you ain't gonna. And that's what that's like.
You can't do it at home.
Because you do it all for the white man and for their business to flourish, but won't do it for your loved ones and your children at home. This is what this word is really here to change in our people. This is supposed to be a natural mindset that you want to do these things, that you're obligated, but it's not a negative obligation. It's a duty, a need, and when women do it naturally, man, those are some of the happiest women because it make the men happy that pass it all around.
I just read, just looked up something. Genghis Khan, 2,450 kids. You know, he was getting it in. You know, but he has a kingdom mind state. You know, a rulership mind state. You know,
Right, who's gonna tell a king how many kids and women he can have?
Yeah.
Nobody, man.
Gideon, he had a village of sons. You know?
yeah, we can only imagine how many King Solomon had. You know,
Yeah, man. I think Gideon, his sons, ended up getting into a war with each other. That's how many of them it was. You know? But yeah, but going back to what you in Titus, instructing the older woman to teach the younger woman, they can't be idle. They have to be busy. You know, you have to put them to work.
they need to be given a specific task.
You know, like these women, they don't mind working just working their life out for the enemy versus working for your own, you know, your own household.
You just saw that with that Jake. Remember the one that was working 7 days?
Yeah, Eve. Yeah, she working her little restaurant business. She worked herself to death, man. She worked for 7 days straight, like every day. Not one day where she would just be like, you know what, let me just sit down and chill and work. She couldn't even keep. If she would have at least acknowledged the Sabbath,
Right.
she would at least kept the Sabbath day. She'd be all right. But you can tell she's a byproduct of capitalism. Because people that have that capitalist mindset, it's about profit, all money, and that's all you think about. You consume with profit.
Niggas still
No days off. Yeah.
Niggas still probably working paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
And that's the point. They doing all that for crumbs, bro.
Killing herself to just try to get by.
Just to keep the business open.
Yeah.
That's why this word should be music to you, music to the ears of you Israelites, man.
Right.
To know that you're in a captivity, but we have a Savior that's coming, man.
Right.
You know, don't work yourself to death. The Lord gonna provide for you, man. You gotta.
I was gonna say that there's an end to this captivity. Jake don't see no end to it.
That's the Micah 2:10, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, rise you depart, for this is not your rest.
You're not gonna get any rest here, man. You're not gonna have enough money to where you can say, oh, I'm stress-free forever. Now, more money, more problems in this place. Taxes, IRS,
Haggai 1,
fam. There's just no rest here, man.
Right.
Especially if you're wicked.
Yeah, I got one.
And the scriptures say that he that careth for riches loses sleep. And when you like these entrepreneurs that are, you know, they have that capitalistic mindset. All they're thinking about is revenue, you know, profit, and so their mind is focused on, you know, basically everything that their mind is geared towards is based on increasing their business.
Right.
So they got to think about marketing. They got to think about their balance sheets, their inventory. They got to think about hours of operation. They got to think about taxes, you know, property taxes, payroll. They got to think about mortgage, you know. They got to think about design, the restaurant design. So much goes into it, to the point where you're not gonna sleep. You know, the price of you know goods,
Yeah.
all that, man. So you knows that, you know, if this woman, she was known for good food, and that she was a chef. She making all this food, and everybody, you know, it's high demand, everybody coming in. So she got to constantly stay at her place of business and keep the people satisfied, to keep the customer service going.
That's
Consistent flow of customers.
That's the hardest part about having your own business is no one's going to run it like you want it unless you guys have the same vision.
Right.
So in order for you to
That's
get
why you got to have a family to do it.
Right.
You don't do it by yourself.
Right.
Eve, she isolated herself. That's why she don't have no family or nobody to fall back on for support.
So so let me
She didn't have no husband.
Right.
She ain't got no, you know, children that would have been there to help her with the business.
Right. To know what she wants.
To know what she wanted, how it's to be ran.
Yep.
She didn't have any of that, so she was doing it by herself, and it was overbearing. She got exhausted, and that destroyed her health.
Yep.
Sleep deprivation, it's
torture.
It can cause. Here come the parking.
Where they at?
Yeah.
You know it was deeper than her just working every day. You know she was working long hours. But the scriptures say a false balance is an abomination to the Lord.
Exactly.
We got a scripture.
This is Haggai 1, and we'll start at 2. Thus speaketh the Lord of hosts, saying,
Start at 1, actually.
we're going to start at 1. This is Haggai
The
1.
point is in 6.
In the 2nd year of Darius the king, in the 6th month, in the 1st day of the month, came the word of the Lord by Haggai, the prophet, unto Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, governor of Judah, and Joshua, the son of Josadak, the high priest, saying, Thus speaketh the Lord of hosts, saying, This people say, the time is not come, the time that the Lord's house shall be built. Then came the word of the Lord by Haggai the prophet, saying, Is it time for you, O ye, to dwell in your sealed houses, and the house lie waste? Now therefore, thus saith the Lord of hosts, consider your ways. Ye have sown much and bring in little. Ye eat, but ye have not enough. You drink, but ye are not filled with drink. You clothe you, but there is none warm. And ye that earneth wages to put it into a bag with holes.
That's right, man. That's the state of our people, man. Majority of this nation is poor, living in poverty. All right, but the Lord said, consider your ways. Why are you living in poverty for, man? Why the majority of our people live in poverty? You know? Now, why the people that so-called make it, have millions of dollars, can't come back and come back to the impoverished of our people and build them up? Ask yourself that, man. And you gotta go to the prophets to give you that answer, man, through the scriptures. You know?
That's why in this thing of ours, man, what we have is considered riches, and it's much more valuable than the riches of this earth. All right, even though we might be poor, but we're rich in spirit. We're rich in faith. And we have this knowledge. And a lot of the stuff that we know, a lot of people in the world don't. They don't know. You know, and that's why they deal with the consequences of not knowing these things. Like that woman, that Eve. Yeah. If she understood the value of setting out a day of rest.
Just one day.
Just one day. She'd probably still be here.
Right. She wouldn't be as stressed.
Yeah.
You know, but I got one of the commentaries from that verse. You know, commentaries they got some info. Sometimes they go off, but this one's on point. It says the cause, going to that verse 5 in Haggai, the cause of their financial difficulties was their wrong priorities.
Man.
They suffered setback after setback because the blessing of the Most High wasn't on their pocketbook. You know, that's not our blessing. That, you know, the Lord's going to give us abundance. He wants us to have the kingdom. We're going to have abundance in the kingdom, but we're going to flourish as a nation, not as an individual. Yes, there's going to be levels and ranks, but we're all going to flourish. Like, I don't want to be on top and my brother, you know, he's struggling. Like, no, if I'm going to be on top, we all going to be on. You know what I mean? If I find $100, however many brothers, we going, you know, let's go out to eat. I'm going to treat the brothers. You know what I'm saying? So that's the mentality that our nation, the leaders of our nation have, and our people, it should trickle down unto the regular Jakes. But, you know,
capitalism destroyed our people.
Right.
Their mindset. It's all about, you know, you one-upping and, you know, you in competition, you getting it, you know, on your own. Yeah. And it's a prideful thing. You know, I got it by my lonely. I got it on my own. I got it out the mud. You know, but what about the rest of you?
Niggas like to say, I'm self-made.
Yeah, self-made.
Yeah.
And then you make it to a certain point, and then the Lord takes your ass out. Now where does it go to? You did all that work in, you put all that work in, and now what you produce is going to somebody else while your ass is in the grave.
It was all done in vain.
Huh?
And the way you, like, if it was your
Ecclesiastes, the second chapter.
Yep.
Somebody can get it.
And I think Howard Shai brought it up too. Yep. I always bring up 12 Years a Slave. And people love that movie. I hate that movie. Man. As soon as they called him, is that Solomon Northrop? Yeah, that's Solomon. No, Solomon Northrop. Started, you know, tap dancing his ass up out of there, and left all them other slaves on the farm, bro. Yeah. Didn't speak up for nobody, and that's how they ended the movie. I hated that shit, bro. It bothered me that he just walked off and he was happy after that. But everybody else getting treated those 12 years, he knew what was going on. He never went back and tried to.
That's the opposite of Moses.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the opposite of what Moses did.
He was a wealthy man. He could have bought their freedom.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah,
Solomon Northrop.
Yeah. Exactly. You got that in
Ecclesiastes second chapter?
Yeah. Let me show you the verse. There's a few of them.
I was thinking also, King Solomon, man, in his kingdom, you know, all Jake was well off. You know,
11.
And Jake got to rotate. I gotta go back and find where that's at, but I believe I wrote that the servants in his house got to rotate. So not only one man got to just live fruitful the whole time, where all families got to be blessed by serving in his house. You got it, right?
This is Ecclesiastes 2:11. Then I looked on all the works that my hands had wrought, and on the labor that I had labored to do, and behold, all was vanity and vexation of spirit, and there was none profit under the sun.
Jump down to verse 18 and 19. Bible show.
This is Ecclesiastes 2:18. Yeah, I hated all my labor which I had taken under the sun, because I should leave it unto the man that shall be after me, and who knoweth whether he shall be a wise man or a fool. Yet shall he have.
That make me think about when a lot of these rich entertainers, when they die, their money don't go to their family; it just goes to their estate. Yep. And who controls their estate usually?
How about the royalties? Who they go to?
Exactly.
Tupac Mama now died. All his music royalties go go to?
Yeah. Michael Jackson died.
Yeah, who would go to? They ain't going to Janet and what's Catherine?
She
they
died.
ain't going to them no more. Catherine died?
She died, yeah.
Yeah, they ain't going to his kids, which, well, who kissed him were, but anyway, you know, so it's going on to back to Sony or whoever else bought his catalog.
Tom Wiley or
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because you got to understand that the small hat, when these entertainers, they set up those wills and those estates, you know, those trusts. So they know how to, you know, do the paperwork and know how to do shit where, oh yeah, we're going to tell you it's going to go to your mom, your next of kin, but they don't tell you what.
Right, that's right.
It's going to go to your, you know, it goes to your next of kin, but they ain't going to tell you where it goes after that, you know. So Esau, you know, they know how to, they've always known how to use the law and wills and estates to their advantage, to take advantage of Jake. So Jake don't leave, Jake can have a fortune, but they don't leave shit to their kids. Yeah, they do something to their kids, they leave them dead, you know.
Guess who's over Tupac's estate? It says Tupac's estate is currently owned and managed by Tom Whaley, the former head of Warner Bros. Records. And I'm pretty sure that's a damn small hat.
On top of people not having that knowledge to be able to leave, you know, that inheritance for their children. Even if they do have that knowledge, the curses are so real that your kids find out that you got some inheritance with their name on it. They try to take you out, man.
Yeah.
Remember Small had bought Death Row.
I think Snoop got it now, though.
I'm gonna just finish this up. This is I'm stuck at the top. Ecclesiastes 2:19. And who knoweth whether he shall be a wise man or a fool? Yet shall he have rule over all my labor wherein I have labored, and wherein I have showed myself wise under the sun. This is also vanity.
You have the other one? Is that in Matthew?
There's another one in Ecclesiastes 5. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. That's the one I'm thinking.
Got it?
The 5th chapter. You got it, brother?
Sirach 5 and...
Sirach?
Oh, I mean, so
Ecclesiastes,
Ecclesiastes 5
right,
and 10. Ecclesiastes 5 and 10. He that loveth silver shall not be satisfied with silver, nor he that loveth abundance with increase. This is also vanity. When goods increase, they are increased that eat them.
Yep.
And what good is there?
It's basically, it's a lot of people. It's basically saying when you're giving more, it's more for you to share, or more. It's the same thing when we hold a Passover. If you know your neighbor don't have it, if you got 2, 3 different options, you can do the small one that fits your household. You can do a real big one. You do the real big one so your neighbors have enough if they don't have it, so they can partake in a righteous feast. You're supposed to get just that same spirit, and I think by definition that's called communism, which is a major red flag buzzword. And people hate that you're supposed to go into the commonwealth of the people. Everybody laboring for the commonwealth of the people, but I mean they really make you hate that word.
Right.
Living in this capitalistic, that should be the hated word though. Because then people gonna abuse the system by being lazy and just getting the fruit off of what this man's doing instead of doing what everybody working hard, seeing how much it could all work and multiply.
But I'm gonna give you an example right now. I just looked up Prince's estate to show you how, even when Jake does the right thing and pass it down to their family, we're still under the curses. And what do their family do? I'm gonna tell you. It says Prince's estate was divided equally among his sister and 5 half siblings. 3 of the siblings sold approximately 50% of their stake in the estate to music publishing company Primary Wave. So they had it. They had the royalties, but what did they do? They sold it.
So it's split between 5 people.
Right.
4, 5, yeah, 5.
A sister and 5. But it shows you how Jake is still under the curses, where Esau comes and says, "Hey, we'll give you a fair price. We'll give you over market value for, the publishing, the estate, whatever." And what Jake do? Like, man, fuck it, I need the money now.
We need the money.
Man, yeah, go ahead,
Want the
man.
money.
Here, just I'll sign the papers.
Yep.
I got a quick precept. This is Deuteronomy 28 and 33. The fruit of thy land and all thy labor shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed always.
Esau still get their hands on it.
Yeah.
You know?
Because with Prince's State, they now,
Go back to
whoever
Ecclesiastes.
that company is, they own a quarter of Prince's stuff.
Yeah.
Because you said it's split between 3. They sold 50% of their 3. That's 16 plus 8. That's 25% damn near, man. You know?
And we know who Primary Wave is owned by. Small Hat Company.
Yep. Yeah, you can finish that.
Ecclesiastes 5 and 11. When goods increase, they are increased that eat them. And what good is there to the owners thereof, saving the beholding of them with their eyes? The sleep of a laboring man is sweet, whether he eat little or much. But the abundance of the rich will not suffer him to sleep.
Yep. Hey, old girl, I don't know how much she was making. She probably made 6 figures or whatnot from her business. And I'm pretty sure she was thinking, if I just keep working and working and working,
Right.
I'll probably end up becoming a millionaire.
It'll pay off.
It'll pay off. Hard work pay off, right? So she overworked herself to death. You know, there's a reason why the Lord says a false balance is an abomination. Anything you do anything in excess, it's harmful. It's not good. You do too much of anything is not good. All right. You sleep too much is not good. If you don't sleep out at all, that's not good. If you drink too much, that's not good. If you don't drink, I mean, that's good. If you drink in moderation, you tend to be a bit more merry.
You study too much.
Study too much, and you could destroy yourself. Trying to be over righteous. You know, it's a balance in everything. We do everything in moderation. All right, that's how we get the mastery. He that getteth the mastery is temperate in all things. All right. Go ahead.
Verse 13. There is a sore evil which I have seen under the sun, namely riches kept for the owners thereof to their hurt. But those riches perish by evil travail.
Yep.
And he begetteth a son, and there is nothing in his hand.
Man, you know what that means? You did all that work, you stored up all that, but then you have a son, and all that you work for, you ain't got nothing to pass down to him. Because then it got spent up, it got, like for example, DMX, when he passed, this nigga did all these tours, he did all these movies, sold all these records, but he didn't have shit to leave none of his children. They were still asking for his, whatever was in his estate. The family was asking, and they was like, he ain't got nothing. He got milked by the execs. And I don't think he was ever independent. So that's what that can happen. The elite, they got so much wealth. You just born. If you part of that bloodline, the Rothschilds, the whatever international banking family, you born in that bloodline, you automatically gonna be born into some substance. You're gonna have some stake somewhere in some corporation, of whatever industry.
Yeah, you ain't getting no social security card. You ain't getting no birth certificate.
Nah. You're not inheriting no debt, none of that. When we're born into this world, we're born into debt. Literally. You can go to the US debt clock now, and it tells you the amount of each person, how much debt they. That shit is wild, right?
Usually like $65, right?
Yeah. It's way more than that.
I think it's 200 or something. If I'm not mistaken. And you got the, I believe it's a straw man or something like that.
Yeah.
Where Esau, the top elites, they actually sell you on their stock exchange.
Yep.
That's you're the collateral.
Collateral.
Instead of gold or whatever. collateral.
Yeah, that's why you can't kill a motherfucker and be like, and get away with it. They gotta put you in prison and you be able to work that off. Work that debt off.
Yeah, your social security number is
The stock market. Yep.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, man. So they have it that way where they can pass their substance down to their children and their children's children.
They blessed.
And that's why they marry within each other as well. They keep it in the family, they keep it in the bloodline.
Bro, they commit incest. That's how these devils work.
Yep.
We got Luke 12, starting at verse 15. And he said unto them, take heed and beware of covetousness. For a man's life consists of not in the abundance of the things which he possesses.
Well, when you have a capitalist mindset, that's exactly your philosophy. You just consume with luxury, consumerism, material abundance. Yeah, I'm self-made. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm worth 7 figures. And that's basically you boasting of the pride of life. You know, like that chick B. Simone. She was letting it be known like she got it like that. But then now all of a sudden she crying because she no longer can shop at Bloomingdale's. So now it's just a tragedy now because she got to shop at H&M now.
But this was the same woman that told a bunch of women, oh, I can never deal with a man that has a 9 to 5.
Exactly.
You know? So fuck her, man.
If she would have had a man in her life, he would tell her, okay, hey bitch, take this to the side, put interest rate, put in the money market or something, invest the shit.
Do not touch it.
Don't touch it. Let your money work for you. Open up a business.
New $10,000 what's it called?
Cartier leather.
Brothers,
Yeah, that costs money.
If things get too bad for her, she'll be in Dubai soon, man.
Yeah, like the brother said, if she would have had a man in her corner, she would have had a man leading her, she wouldn't have made all those rash decisions with her money. And that's why she's complaining now that she's going broke. That's because you're irresponsible. Your priorities is messed up. Because you women are not good with money. Hell no.
And Esau knows that. That's why the shopping industry, that's why you go into Macy's and you see the women's section is 3 times larger than the men's section.
Exactly. The women's section got a whole floor. In the men's section, a whole floor and a half. And then the men's section is like off on the side with the kids section.
The men's section usually just got the clearance rack.
I got a quick one. You ready?
I had one.
Oh,
You got one? You got it. Go ahead.
This is Sirach 31:1. It says, watching for riches consumeth the flesh, and the care thereof driveth away sleep.
Man. Yeah. And that's why that chick worked herself to death. All she was thinking about was that money. That was the motivator. To keep her awoke for 7 days straight like that. That money. That's all she thinking about. So she could get on the gram and show how she living. She could flaunt her design, her designer and trips, vacations.
Fucking consume there.
Then she can have a long ass caption at the bottom of her post.
Or the scripture.
Or a scripture, Yeah, man. Yeah. And she said she made her last little post, her little tweet. I just need 3 days off so I can rest. The Most I was like, no, I give you more than rest. I got some rest for you. And he gave her that real rest. Took her ass to the spiritual realm, man. Yeah, man. Life is not just about. Brother still got it. Go ahead and finish that.
It says, and he said unto them, back in Luke 12:15, and he said unto them, take heed and beware of covetousness, for a man's life consisteth not in the abundance of the things which he possesseth. And that chick, B. Simone, if she had a humble spirit and she was able to be content with her lifestyle, she wouldn't be sitting up there fucking about to cry because she's shopping at H&M. There's a lot of people that wish they could shop at H&M. That shit ain't cheap.
That shit ain't the Goodwill.
That shit is not cheap.
It ain't the damn Salvation Army, man. You can find some good stuff up in that store.
Savers.
Right. But she was just so used to that lifestyle, you know? So she could look down on other people. She have a false sense of superiority through her materialism.
That's why it says pride goeth before destruction, but it also says a haughty spirit before a fall. Right? And that's the least of her worries, man. This shit about to get a lot worse. You ain't gonna be thinking about no H&M, man. Verse 16, and he spake a parable unto them, saying, the ground of a certain rich man brought forth plentifully. And he thought within himself, saying, what shall I do? Because I have no more room to bestow my fruits. And he said, this will I do. I will pull down my barns and build greater, and there will I bestow all my fruits and my goods.
He parked in the red. It's not enough.
It says, and he said, this will I do. I will pull down my barns and build greater.
This is what the brother said, more money, more problems. When he said more money, more problems earlier, that's what it's saying. The more money you got, the more you gotta build something, you gotta be more watchful to protect it. You gotta be more wise on your investments, so you gotta study more, all these other things you gotta do to preserve it. Yeah. And that becomes where your care is instead of where it should be in the Most High.
Yeah, women praying on you and shit. Yep. Oh, this guy got money, man. Let me see what I can get up out of him.
We just talking about Kevin Durant, right? We're talking about Kevin Durant. He's nearing 40 years old and never been married.
That's true.
Yeah, he's nearing 40, right?
Said he'd rather pay for the experience, man.
Yeah.
Which is wise. Because look at the climate and who he has to choose from. It's just a bunch of women that want to break his pockets ultimately.
Yeah. It's better to pay for the experience than to have to pay for the lawyer fees. You know, somebody was saying, so like, I saw one video when I was scrolling or whatever. He said, now you gotta pay for anyway. He said, now I gotta pay for you gotta pay this woman, you done hired her at your company. Now you gotta pay her salary every 2 weeks or whatever. He goes, yeah, well, I bought my ex-wife a house. Which is better. You start thinking about what men actually have to pay. And he said ex-wife. So it's meaning he didn't get the house. So it's her shit. So it just, you start thinking about all these things, you're gonna have to pay, but your focus is getting taken away from the thing that should be the main thing. That's why 1 Corinthians 7 goes into that.
Yep.
About how you deal with married life and where your focus should be.
Right. It said those that have wives be as though they had none.
The focus is not on them. The focus is on, he said, he that cared for his wife.
He that cared for the world, tended to his wife. He that is unmarried, care for the things of the Lord, how he may please Yahweh Shem Yahushai.
He that is married, care for his wife, how he may please his wife. Exactly.
Care for the world, how he may please his wife. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, like the brother said, because Kevin Durant, most of these athletes, they're a bunch of idiots.
Yeah,
they don't use their head at all. They think with the other one. Mm-hmm. They just come into a wad of money because they never had it like that before. Yeah. And once they see that their money is long, this is their first time having access to a bunch of women. Right. But they don't never really learn that hypergamous nature. That you're a prey. You're a target.
You need a man. Like Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
He's like the tragic story.
That nigga's like a ticking time bomb, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say 50 Cent. He about his ex. He broke up with Cuban something.
Oh,
she asked him.
Cuban link.
She asked him for 10,000. He broke up with that bitch. And 10,000 ain't nothing to 50. You know, it's just a principle.
Yeah.
Right. You know?
He's like, I'm taking care of you and get you whatever you want, but you want like, nah, it ain't gonna work like that.
Hey, just like you got women that's been hoeing since the mid '90s, man. Now they getting young Jake who just getting in the league. The one Jalen
Green.
Yeah.
Drea.
Gilbert Arenas was dumping on her, man. Now he's with her, you know?
Oh, the Pippen wife?
Yeah.
Larsa Pippen.
Yeah, they old.
How do you fall for that one?
I need an 8th nigga in line to fall for that.
8 NBA nigga.
Yeah. Same with card smashing and all that. Bro. How you keep falling for that?
Jackson.
You notice like with Shaq, after Shawnee O'Neal, she made a lot of money when the divorce and all that, and they separated. But he never went back. Like he went and started investing.
He never got married again.
He never got married again. And he even got some concubines.
Oh yeah.
He got 3 Edomite concubines.
I thought it was 4.
He ain't marrying no chick ever again. He doing it right now. He learned from his situation.
Yeah, he ain't messing with no, probably ain't messing with no nigga wolf shit.
Oh yeah, hell no. That's why he went and got the Edomite concubines. He ain't dealing with no N-dubs no more.
And that was the first person I heard. I don't know who told him that, but he said you don't pay them for doing that, which you pay them to leave. So they don't have to stick around. Because they don't want to stick around the fountain and keep drinking. But if you give them a canister to go, you can go on back to your regular life with a little hydration.
With a parting gift.
Yeah, a little. Yep.
Yeah, back in Luke 12 and 18.
Yep.
And he said, "This will I do. I will pull down my barns and build greater, and there will I bestow all my fruits and my goods. And I will say to my soul, soul, thou hast much goods laid up for many years. Take thine ease, eat, drink, and be merry. But the Most High said unto him, Thou fool, this night thy soul shall be required of thee. Then whose shall those things be which thou hast provided? So is he that layeth up treasure for himself, and is not rich towards the Most High."
But if you was rich, and that's funny, the brother brought it up a moment ago, but if he had that wisdom, he would have taught his sons, he would have laid with a woman of fertile age and all of this other stuff that he can bring up, or a woman that was down for the Most High also, and he would have possibly blessed them, and then everything would have blessed
Is it on the next street or this street?
Oh yeah.
Oh shit, he right there.
Go ahead.
We gotta stop paying, bro. We're too paranoid every time this dude come around.
Some weeks they let us slide, and then some weeks like, nah, y'all gotta pay.
Were you still reading? I had another quick one.
Go ahead.
Sirach 31 in verse 6, it says, "Gold hath been the ruin of many, and their destruction was present. It is a stumbling block unto them that sacrifice unto it, and every fool shall be taken therewith." You know, so staying on topic with this, you know, about our people chasing after money and giving their whole life to the dollar bill, because the dollar bill is basically an idol. It's like a god. You know, hey, our people worship money.
Yeah.
They really worship it. You know, so the desire of it, the desire of the things that money can get you, it can lead to your destruction, man. Okay, and there's so many examples of that here in this place from our people, from the dude dealing the drugs in the corner, getting shot, to the NBA player, to the boxer, to the singer, the actor. It was their ruin, you know?
Real quick, there's 1 Timothy 6 and 8 in the NLT. It says, I'll start at 7. It says, "After all, we brought nothing with us when we came into the world, and we can't take anything with us when we leave it. So if we have enough food and clothing, let us be content." But people who long to be rich fall into temptation and are trapped by many foolish and harmful desires.
Because now you got certain compromises, certain inordinate sacrifices, so to speak, to stay in that position. Hey, the entertainment world is like one of the most, like wait till they get to the point where they start breaking Hollywood down and explaining what them Diddy freak-offs was really about. You know, that they was for certain oaths unto certain gods, to rituals, you know, satanic rituals to compromise your soul or to sell your soul to get into Hollywood and the big money. You know, that's what we watching it for. I'm waiting to see that part. When y'all gonna burst the bubble on that shit instead of just bringing down all these individuals? Burst the whole industry. You know, you got
it says that plunged them into ruin and destruction. For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil, and some people craving money have wandered from the true faith and pierced themselves with many sorrows.
All kinds of evil. You didn't got into all types of evil perspectives and evil thinkings just because you thinking about money.
Yep.
You know, brothers, we tell brothers, man, hey, pray about these jobs. Sometimes, like, when I have job opportunities, I'll be like, something going bad happen. You know, I don't want to be a boy. If it's going to take me away from the spirit, having the spirit of Yahweh Shemashah, I don't want it. Care how much an hour they paying. You know? And sometimes that's certain sacrifices. Sometimes you got to do certain extra things, you know, in the spirit. But also, on the other side, if it's going, like when we have somebody in this camp, told him, hey, stop working them late night hours. He's working them late night hours, and eventually he fell out. And we called it. You know, like something, I got to work on the Sabbath, I don't have my rent. Like, bro, stay at the house, study and pray. You know, try that. You're going to ride for your car, bro. Already paid.
What's the app?
Flowbird.
Flowbird.
Which we said?
Yep.
Matthew 6:19. Lay not up for yourselves treasure.
We paid. Already paid. We already paid.
You already paid it.
Show him, Z.
Matthew 6:19. Lay not up for yourselves treasure upon the earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. But lay up yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. What we were talking about, people are just more money, but it's going to be taken away. Eventually, at the end, it's going to be taken away. All this is going to be gone. All of it's going to be gone.
What
good it is.
All the things that you can gather for yourself, they all perish. Nothing here lasts forever, right? Your estate, your business, your whips. It all, like it says, moth and what does it say?
Where moth does corrupt.
Time will wipe it away, man. So was it worth it? It's not. It's never worth it. It's never worth it.
That was it?
Got a quick precept from me.
Go ahead.
It's in Mark chapter 8, verse 36. It reads, "For what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his own soul?" Whosoever therefore shall be ashamed of me and of my words in his adulterous and sinful generation, of him also shall the Son of Man be ashamed when he cometh in the glory of his Father with the holy angels. Yep. So what profit shall a man have, to lose his own soul? You're right, con, yeah. Yep.
Not worth it, man. There's uncertain riches here. You sell your soul, and then the thing that you sold yourself for, you can't take it with you. Or you could end up losing it. It could be taken from you. So what good was you selling your soul? You can't get that back. You know?
That boy, Terrence Howard, talking about that. Cat Williams too, but what was talking about that Virgin Hole, Cat Williams? But I'm trying to think how
Terrence Howard, we talking about your man card.
The man card. You can't once you got that man card, so you can't get it back. What you gonna do? You know, you going into it. Hey man, you gonna be needing that later on. You know, so it's just real talk though. Like you really think about it, and that's your soul, that's your spirit. Cause everybody that you can tell had it. Yeah, you look at what's the infamous guy going around with Diddy right now that try to act like he still got it? Meek Mill. Yeah. You can see he ain't got it, bro. You can just see the whole countenance he ain't got it. You know, and let alone the evidence on tape in the vocals. But yeah, so you need that, bro. That's not right in the spirit. You know. You have more on there?
No, that was it. Yep, gone.
I got one. Matthew 6:24. No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve the Most High and Mammon. And when you think about it, let me look up that word serve. The word for serve is from the Greek word deluo, and it says to be a slave to, involuntary or voluntary, be in bondage.
Hey, we're slaves to Yahweh Shai.
Yep.
You know, we're in bondage. We're indebted to Yahweh Shai. So that's who we serve. We don't serve ourselves. We don't serve mammon. We don't serve man. You know, and that's wrong with the world. You can't do both. You know, that's what's wrong with a lot of Jakes in Israel. They think they could do both. They think they could